Hey everybody, I'm back. It's been a while since I posted a video, like a couple weeks, and before it was mainly about my creative projects like my musicals, but now I'm going to be talking more about my creative projects that don't happen. So I'm going to reveal to you all a secret. Well, it won't be a secret anymore because I will have just revealed it to the internet. So that's like the world. So hello world. Alright, I'm addicted to fan fiction. I mean, I don't read it. Okay. I mean, not addicted, but I read it more than I should. I don't mean like you're creepy, like slash fiction, because I have standards, but yeah, it's an addiction I have. And so we're going to talk about, I've always thought it'd be, if I had the time, it'd be awesome, because I'm like, I could totally write an awesome fan fiction, but ain't nobody got time for that. Like, if I'm going to spend time, like, to write something that's really good, I'm going to do it for, like, an actual creative project. So we're going to talk about the steps. There are steps to writing a fan fiction. Step 1. Choose a fandom. For instance, Frozen is the film that launched a million fanfics. But you got your Whovians and your Marvel comics, Disney. I mean, I read a lot of Disney fan fiction. Pokemon, anything anime, like, has, I'm sure, a bajillion fan fictions. So pretty much anything ever, there's a fanfic. Like, if you can imagine it, it's probably happened in a fanfic before. We have the bronies of the My Little Pony gang. That's a common kind. Don't ask me to explain it, because that's like asking me to describe what love is. So that's hard-ish. In step 2, you choose which kind of fanfiction you're going to write, or if you're going to combine all these different elements. So you get your first kind is your high school. This happens a lot with the Disney characters, but just put them all in high school. And they have like drama and crushes and maybe pregnancy, and there's always parties, and there's very little to no actual doing of school or preparing for college. Just a lot of sports and parties and dances and dates. That's what happens. They just got all this time and freedom, and they all drive or have ride places. They don't have to be like awkwardly dropped off by their parents, like, ever. And yeah, they also have a lot of free spending money. Now, the second type is the crossover. That's where you combine things or make them one. Like, if you wanted to do so, like the Doctor Who My Little Pony is in Frozen, and you think that's weird, but it probably exists somewhere on the internet. Fanfic kind of 3 is shipping. So shipping is where you make a relationship between two characters. So some characters are highly shippable, like Hans from Frozen, because he's evil, but he's also attractive. And so fanfiction, we're thinking superficial here. You gotta be superficial. So he's prime shipping material. They can be shipped. It doesn't need to make sense. The less sense it makes is usually the better for a ship. Like, no logic. That's an important step of fanfiction, important rule. No logic. Things don't have to make sense. You don't have to explain anything to a publisher, so do what you want. The third step would be to create your protagonist. Your protagonist has to be a Mary Sue. Now, the term Mary Sue comes from fanfiction. It was a Star Trek fanfiction. And there was this character named Mary Sue, and she was like perfect, good at everything, saving the day. The Mary Sue is really just a representation of the author in their own work. So the author puts themselves in their own work and makes themselves awesome. So a Mary Sue is like the most annoying character in everything. That'd be step 4. You need to write it. Important thing, you can't write an outline. No, that's what real authors and like people who want things to turn out sensibly do. So I'm sure there's some fanfics that are good and they have an outline, but in general, no outline. You don't want to make an outline. You just want it to go on for as long as you possibly can. So the story won't actually be finished. You'll just get bored eventually and finish it. Most likely after 3 chapters. And it's also important to misspell things. No fanfiction is complete without misspellings, like the wrong your or star instead of stare. I heard one that was like Disney Housewives, kind of like the SNL skit, because it didn't make sense, like, half the time, dude. What? Like, nothing's capitalized and there's no punctuation. I can't tell if they said Jasmine or Ariel's pregnant at this point. For all I know, Darth Vader's pregnant, because that's how much the English is making sense in this fanfiction. You know what, that's a perfectly legitimate possibility, because it's fanfiction. And then your fifth step is you have to make it so steamy. You have to have lots of staring deeply into the eyes of the beloved. Just staring. You have smirking. Smirk. You just gotta smirk. You have to have unnecessary physical descriptions of people's bodies that are way too detailed. Chiseled abs. Hashtag Stephanie Meyer, I think, actually wrote that in her novel. America. Someone should probably take their shirt off. Just saying, if you want your fanfic to get those steamy ratings, some guys gotta go shirtless. The best is if they're a moody outcast, like the moody, brooding, artistic type, usually contrasted with a more popular dude. They're just like brooding and moody, they have to be by themselves, and the only guy that truly understands the heroine that's totally based off the author. Yeah, you need that to make it steamy. You need those brooding outcasts. Also, describe people's outfits to a ridiculous level of detail. Like, where they bought them, is it a cardigan with flats and a skirt? Their makeup, like, pink or red lip gloss. That's important, because you need to know where the kiss stains and on the fork they ate the steamy mostaccioli from. That's important details. Get lots of unnecessary kissing and PDAs, because in the world of fanfic, you just PDA up. Like, that's how you live your life. You also need to make it dramatic. Melodramatic. So, that's your next step. So definitely tears. Lots of running and crying is also good. Sobbing, heaving, you need people to be torn and conflicted inside, and they don't know what they want, and it's really important that it doesn't make sense. You need to sulk a lot and just be sad, but it can't make sense. And it has to be veiled in mystery. So people think it makes sense, but it probably actually doesn't. But they're just waiting for you to tell them, like, why is this person a drama queen all the time? It's because of something in their past that the author hasn't told you. Or they will never tell you, and they just want a convenient excuse to make them go crazy half the time. You don't understand me as a person. That's what's gotta happen. It can't make sense. It just can't. You can't impose logic on this world. It's anarchy. This is the French Revolution of the literary world right here. Fanfiction. So, that's how you write it. I gave you the steps. I taught you how. So I know I don't have time to write my fanfic, which I know would be awesome, but I don't have time, and so you can write it. You can pass on the fanfiction.